Good evening, viewers. This is Deepika Lingdor bringing to you the news and events in Meghalaya from Bosco Media Network. Let us first have a look at the headlines for today. The state stands united to fight the battle in the best possible way. Light of hope seen in 84-year-old gentleman fighting against a common enemy, COVID-19. USTM School of Education opening for admission, a clear violation of NCTE notification. Cracks on street between Normansong and Lankarding a cause of concern, and more incidents of rain caused mayhem West Janka Hills. And now the news in detail. A fourth review meeting was called by the Speaker of Assembly, Shri Medba Lingdor. Today, the state ruling party and the opposition party came together to fight for a common cause in battling against COVID-19 in the state.
I'm quite happy that the outcome of this today meeting that we had, the committee which we have constituted especially to see how we prevent the spread of COVID-19 from the day one, and today how we control the spiking of cases in the entire state. I'm so glad to see that the Honorable Chief Minister and his team, the Honorable Leader of the Opposition and the members of the August House have regularly attended this review meetings that we've been having from time to time. Today is the fourth meeting that we had, apart from the other three meetings that we had in the past. And we are aware that the number of cases has gone up with regards to COVID-19 positive cases. And we are aware also that, as informed by the government, that the number of cases have gone up because only after the opening up of the lockdown, which we have to balance as far as the economy is concerned. So, but the government also is very much on the job to see that how they're taking utmost care to prevent the spike of the positive cases. So we are here with the Honorable Chief Minister, the Honorable K. Sangma, and the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Dr. Mukul Sangma. We have exchange of ideas addressing all concerns which we have been informed that we have experienced at the ground level from all the respective MLA's constituencies, and those ideas will definitely help the government machineries to see that how they acted on it and ensure that the sense of security and safety is being built up in the mind of the people of the state.
I think first of all, I'd like to thank the Honorable Speaker for having called this meeting, and also to all the members of the opposition, including the Honorable LO, for having attended this meeting. I think I don't want to say much about what it was, but I think what is important is the message to the people and the state as a whole, that when it comes to a situation like this, we all are going to work together. Whether we are part of the ruling or the opposition, it is our responsibility to ensure that we work as a team and give our ideas and give our suggestions and take it positively, and to ensure that we do whatever we can do best to ensure that we can fight this. And I think this message needs to be then further extended to the society as a whole. That this is not just a fight that the government will do, or a fight that the MLAs will do or the legislature will do, but it's a fight where the society has to come together. And I think it's only when people and society start responding and start taking this as a serious issue and start following the basic protocols of social distancing, mask wearing and hand sanitization, I think we will see that we'll be able to fight this to a large extent. This most probably is the only vaccine that we have as of now, which is to wear a mask and keep ourselves safe. And I think this behavioral change and long-term adaptation to this situation is the only way to fight it. Apart from that, of course, government will do its best. We had a lot of positive discussion today. A lot of good suggestions came out from the members, and I would like to thank all of them for their suggestions. And we will try to incorporate all the suggestions as far as possible, try to see how it can improve the overall delivery mechanism to be able to fight this particular virus. So I once again thank the Honourable Speaker and the Honourable Leader of Opposition and all the members who came to this meeting today and gave their valuable support.
See, there is no question of being satisfied or not satisfied. I think the question should be like that. What we have discussed is what is more important. The discussion is to actually share our concern and to know what exactly is the government doing as a response to dealing with this challenge which is before us. We are privileged that the government has given an exhaustive presentation on the measures being taken. And from our side, because the idea is that as we confront this challenge of pandemic, how we can minimize the number of casualties, how we can not just mitigate, but also ensure that we prevent from further spiking of cases in the days ahead, keeping in mind, the clinical surprises that we will be confronted with in the days ahead, and the challenges associated with dealing with this highly infectious virus. Now, we expect that besides the measures which is put in place by the government, there are need for our community to actively participate in this whole process and how this particular thing can be achieved. Now, there's a very important aspect from the side of the government also. Certain areas where we want the government to act upon has been shared. We have shared these concerns, and we hope that those course correction will be there. While dealing with these kind of challenges, there will always be a need for course correction because there is no perfect model as such. And at the same time, areas where we are seen to be letting our guard down, will have to really look at and then see that, okay, we have that course correction. Now, there are a few things which we have shared. Is one thing is that the overcrowding in the bank, overcrowding in the officers, in the different offices at the districts and the block level, you will see people queuing up before the bank and then hardly any social distance or several other protocols which are required to be followed by the members of the community. I think those are few things which need to be corrected in the government premises. Outside is okay, but within the government premises, if certain protocols are not being followed, that is the place where we must engage with people, and that is where we must find out ways and means to actually communicate this concern of the government, the concern of everyone. And so these few concerns have been shared. At the same time, how we take care of our preparedness. Is the cases going to further surge? We are all aware that the virus is not going to rest. After you have 10,000 cases, 30,000 cases, the virus is not going to say that now enough, so virus will take us. So therefore, we'll have to see that we are prepared, we are capable of preventing further surge and minimize the number of casualties.
In a statement given by Dr. Kinteo Langsanmit, Nodal Officer and Spokesperson, Bethany Hospital, Shillong, an 84-year-old gentleman recovered from COVID-19 and was discharged from Bethany Hospital today. He was admitted on 11th September 2020 with profound fatigue, breathlessness and fever and tested positive for COVID-19. His HRCT test showed bilateral COVID pneumonia features and ECG showed ventricular premature complexes. He has comorbidities, namely hypertension, megaloblastic anemia and prostatomegaly. He also had low blood cell counts, leukopenia and thrombocytopenia, for which he was undergoing treatment. His story shines a light of hope in all of us overcoming this battle as a state and community. It's always wonderful to see people who have been affected with COVID-19 recovered. Dr. Kinteo Lang said, the hospital as a whole continues to celebrate with the COVID-19 patients whenever they recover and get to go home from the hospital. But this celebration was extra special because this patient, at 84 years old, is the oldest in the state to recover and to be discharged. His strength and determination are amazing. He was put on high oxygen support for the first 6 days and after other treatments, which improved symptomatically, and he became better. He was hospitalized for 14 days, and as he left the hospital, the doctors and nurses in Bethany Hospital lined the hallway to cheer on as he was wheeled out and discharged after his test results returned negative on the 13th day. Dr. Kim Kyolang also thanked the doctors, nurses and all the medical staff for their relentless efforts and selfless dedication, and for working tirelessly to provide quality care to all the patients with compassion and commitment. Taking cognizance of the fact that the USTM located in Ribhoi district has invited applications for admission to its course under the School of Education from students in and around the state, Mr. Raymond Karjana, Chairman KSU Education Cell, said that the act of the university in doing so is a clear violation of the NCTE notification, which states that since the university has lost its recognition for the academic session 2020-2021, it cannot invite applications for admission to programs under the School of Education. Mr. Karjana, speaking to reporters, said that this matter has been placed before the director of the DERT so that the necessary actions can be taken by the concerned authorities.
You can also download the order from the NCT website, where it has clearly stated, I repeat, where it has clearly stated that the university, I'll read it out for you. Recognition granted to the institution, namely Komrul Haq School of Education, University of Science and Technology, plot number 52, street number 101, village Baridua, PO Killing Center, Tehsil Taluk, Ribhoi Town, City Techno City, District Ribhoi, Meghalaya, for B.Ed course is hereby withdrawn under Section 17(1) of the NCTE Act 1993 with effect for the academic session 2020-2021. From the union, we will not sit idle, and if the government fail to address, and if the university fail to provide a clearable answer on this issue, further step will be taken by the union in an appropriate time. Today, the Education Cell of the Khasi Student Union has sought a meeting with the Honorable Education Minister of the Government of Meghalaya, Shri Lakman Ramboi, but due to unavoidable circumstances, we cannot meet the Education Minister today. But instead, we were able to meet the Director of the Directorate of Educational Research and Training DRT Meghalaya, where we have briefed him about the case in which the Komrul Haq School of Education, University of Science and Technology, Ribhoi District, Meghalaya, has called for admission from students from the state and other states. This act of the university is a clear violation of the order of the NCTE dated 5/8/2019, where in point number 4 of the order, the National Council of Teacher Education has stated clearly that the university cannot call for admission and a recognition for the School of Education USTM has been withdrawn for the academic session 2020 and 21. The procedure of School of Education will have to revise each and every year. Then for the year, as we have seen in the website of the NCTE, for the year 2020 and 2021, the NCTE has clearly stated that the recognition is withdrawn from the university.
Cracks have now started to appear along the street that stretches from Nomansong to Langkarding after many days of heavy rainfall. According to the locality head, Mr. Banchanlang's airline, these cracks have started to appear due to the existing poor drainage system that has caused water to seep into the street and to erode the soil beneath. This is not the first time that such cracks have been seen on the street. In 2018, the PWD was informed about the need to lay a proper drainage system to protect the street and prevent the overflow of water and waste to the street. The PWD is yet to act on the complaint of the locality. The MDC of the area, Mr. P.N. Siem, inspected the street accompanied by Mr. Banchanlang's airline and Mr. P. Kine, Assistant Secretary of the locality and residents of the area. Mr. CM assured the inhabitants he would ensure that proper drainage system would be put in place and the street would be repaired soon.
Tani ka jing slek ka jing tap ka bas ngosi ka long ba kim don kini kilang tiat lani kini nala ki babyang bantu tatang suslap kung basi kanta ar kanta ladap lada pini I lagi jong ki khmat ba ki yeng ki sam hane ki ladap
nakapon nga appeal ya ka PWD department ya ka soil conservation ya ka water resources bagin don ka holistic approach cara ni bagini ka jingjenja du ni kinong song dai hadu menta let's say kimpat la ya ban le I nang mentang yang pha ka wi ka bulldozer sikit dong nang ban ben khoj ki nala ki bla sakut ba kum juro ban plilat ya ko bakan ya lenti isu sukha kan diat ban kaliang ka government ha ka jing sisa kala de ban simkhya ikini kinong song ba pli tang met kim long ban let's say ngala ban bagi thia ka jing siet nang kaliang jung yang ka bagum ni ka pon isu appeal ya ki department baper bala kum ban pet lang ikini ka jing ya but ni scam bala ki pet lang ka kan don kalenti let's say kum kani ka nala hang ni kani ka nala kam la su ban ngoi kani kum ka bubun hang ni la don kam let's say nang kaliang di bala kum ban pen he ya kani ka nala lara kalong da kanu ur kom ban air ka slap majong do nang ba kan yarap sibun nam taki nong sung sunong nga sngo tan kata nakalang junga ngam da don sibun ke ye deni nga ngi pi bang nang la ban ina ban le abang ye ka da ka bolosar ki bentai bashroom nang ban bang ni ki nong sung sunong mo iba par don hang ni la sei da.
The intense incessant rain that hits Meghalaya has created havoc in different parts of the state with floods, landslides, soil erosion and destruction of properties. Garo Hills is facing the recurrence of flood every year, particularly in the plain belts of that region. The plain areas of Garo Hills faces flood when all the rivers are choked by the swelling of Brahmaputra river. The flood in Garo Hills has brought about destruction to loss of human lives, agricultural, livestock farming and destruction of properties amount to crore of rupees in terms of monetary loss. The rain that Meghalaya receives this year has been phenomenal. Unlike in the previous years, the state has received constant rain right from the month of February. The incessant rain has also brought untold miseries in West Khasi Hills of Meghalaya. Vehicles have been washed away, the movements of vehicles have been thrown out of gear when a huge landslide occurred along the Nongstoin bypass. There was a landslide on the slope Lumparing area in Shillong. The Umyam Lake that feeds the electricity to the entire population of the state has been released today. The gushing water is sending an alarming bell to the villagers residing below the lake. It is rather paradoxical that the state capital Shillong is also facing recurrence of flood, particularly around Polo and Penthorba areas. These are man-made floods and only stringent legislation can save the situation. Speaking to Bosco Media Network, a teacher of Synod College in Shillong, D.D. Nengnong, informed that this year Meghalaya has received rain throughout the year, particularly in the southern belt of the state.
So when we look at the global scenario as a whole, it can be seen that climate change has really affected us a lot, not the world as a whole, and it has affected even our neighborhood to a very, very large extent. Like I told you in the beginning, we don't receive a normal rainfall like what we have received during the times of our grandmother, our grandfather. Those days we used to hear 3 or 4 days of constant rainfall and all that. So that part, it is not constant anymore. No, sometimes it comes, sometimes it don't come. So that has the climate change per se, I could say it has affected a lot. But our areas also is being infected by the you can say the microclimate. Due to the emergence of dam site, that area may have caused heavy rainfall in some areas. But if you go north, further north, rainfall becomes very less. So if you go further south, rainfall becomes heavy. But climate change, I should say, it has impacted a lot on the society, on the climate as a whole.
Neng Nong also said the Omyam area gets more rain than the other parts of Ribhoi district due to local climatic condition.
So when we check out the happenings in Shillong and all that, you can say there's a paradox, because yesterday when I visited Pentor Mkra, I could see that flooding everywhere and all that. That is due to human intervention. The human settlement has affected a lot. Pollution has affected a lot. The condition of the drains and all that, which is not proper, it has affected a lot and all that. So on that note, we need a very proper planning. We need very strict legislation on the part of the government that we should do things in a very, very proper way. So as you see, Shillong is an unplanned city and all that. We are not doing things in a very, very proper manner, and that has created a lot of problems. So the problems that has caused in those areas and all that, it is due to us only. We are not positive in our aspects in being with regards to so many things. We don't respect the environment. In fact, we don't respect nature and all that. That is the cause of all these happenings. The areas where we received a constant amount of rainfall, you can see that Cherrapunji, Mausunam, these are the two dominant areas. But when you look at the Maukorwat side, through Plankanshi and all that, that also is the areas where you receive a high amount of rainfall. Then coming to the other side, Giant Hills, you can see Joai and the surrounding areas also do receive very heavy rainfall. Pinotsla, for that matter, Lilingkot and all that. These are the areas also which receive the heavy amount of rainfall because of the pressure laden winds that's coming from Bay of Bengal. It hits all these areas, come in contact with all these areas directly. That may be the cause of heavy rainfall in those areas.
He also talks about the climatic condition that connects the receiving of rain in Meghalaya.
When we talk about rainfall in Shillong, we can see that the rainfall in Shillong is very uneven. Last few years, if I could remember, in the year 1987, we have received the first rain in Shillong in the last week of May. And this year, what I can see, rain started right from the first week of February, and there are times that it rains very, very heavily. Then it can also be seen that when I went to Barapani and all that, I could see that the first release of water from the dam, it is the month of May. First release, the first week, if I'm not mistaken, you can check it out. Then if you see it, till yesterday when I visited Barapani, they have released the water. So if you calculate that in the month of right from May, June, July, August, September, October, they have released more than 6 or 7 times, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know, but this may be due to microclimate, climate change that has affected the whole area as a whole. So that I could see it like that. So I don't know, because I have seen a lot of changes that's taken place in the last 10 years. If you calculate the last 20 years, there is a lot of phenomenal changes that is taking place in Shillong and the surrounding areas.
The incessant rain for the past few days triggered major landslide today morning, and 5 people were buried alive in Dhobighat, Lower Lumparing. According to the reports, the incident happened at around 6:20 a.m. today in the morning. Those buried alive include Razia Ahmed, Firoza, Bila Imdad Nongrum and one more person. Rescue operations by fire and emergency services State Disaster Relief Force, Police Department and local people are still on so far. 2 dead bodies have been recovered till filing this report. Speaking to the press at the site of the landslide at Lower Lumparing that claimed 5 lives, Mr. Sanbor Shulai remarked that the site has been designated a flood-prone site by experts. Approximately 8 years ago, following the incident of some structures being swept away by the flood, the appropriate authorities have advised the landowners, residents and tenants against building any structures there and residing on the site. Despite receiving the warnings, the 5 people who lost their lives due to the landslide continued to make the site their place to stay, leading to this unfortunate incident. Mr. Shulai has assured the full assistance of his office and the government departments to the affected families. He also informed the press that necessary actions will be taken to prevent further loss of lives. Temporary makeshift shelters have been set up and essential items have been arranged for the families that have been affected by the flooding and the landslides.
Bardon Shabong belong na bagador barsinong bangin advice ga DC ban ongi trying but please for the future safety jongki nong songwai jogi min simriu so haban shift no naga ying kumbala advice no ro hajar ko tedang liang juga DC ngalayo bani keren te ka kandon hi kini ki ka daga diarap ka bari ben yo yegi ni ben simriu je menta ki don kila advice kini ki expert Nagaliang district administration, naga police department kini bahasa ni kemlong advice bol chubim tip chipke banja.
Kapriano itu.
Dia mentanya apkriya no kini kali gila don, tengi lapan kreya community hall jungi, apa Kansas race, lapan ready, barki jalan kini, barki essential communities, how gasini kan bagi di bam, for a time being in pensa saya gitu, kerja relief.
The incessant and voluminous outpouring these past days have become a great source of concern as occurrence of landslides and floods are becoming more and more rampant as a result. Precious lives and property have been lost in the process and these appear to be no let-up of the torrential rains so far. In light of such circumstances, the site of land lying along the stretch of road going to Shillong Commerce College from the BK Bijoria School begin to soften and to slide downwards to the residences below is now raising much concern for the authority and the public. For now, this road has been closed by the authorities who are monitoring the situation closely. The unabated downpour in the state these past many days has brought much devastation, leading to great loss to the public and to the government. West Jaintia Hills district has not escaped the onslaught of the torrential rains. It too has seen much destruction of land and property. As per reports, roads, retaining walls, crops have all been damaged by floods and landslides. Fortunately, the Block Development Officer, West Jaintia Hills District, reports no loss of lives in the most recent incidents of flood and landslides. There are reports coming from Laskin block of roads being cut off by landslides and from Amlaren block of boats being carried away from Shnong Padeng. The Thalasken Block Development Officer states that she has put all Gram Sevaks on alert to be ready to provide assistance in case there are emergencies. Let us have a glimpse of the COVID-19 update for today. Well, viewers, that is all we have for you today. See you tomorrow at the same time and in the same channel. Thank you for watching.